And welcome back to FanCorner, your favorite nerdy, unhinged podcast. We're gonna pose first for our YouTube reel because we never do this since we always look like idiots.
Yeah.
So, we're doing tortured poets, so we should look like maybe angsty or something.
I'm not the face of FanCorner, Jalaire. And this is Rachel, the actual face of FanCorner. Yay!
Today we're gonna be discussing the tortured poets department, but before we get into that, we're gonna do some high mids.
Yeah.
Jalaire, what's your high today?
My high is that I celebrated my birthday last week.
Yay!
And it was really fun. Got ramen. Rachel was there. A lot of other friends were there. We took lots of cute Polaroids. And Rachel and I are going to do a birthday sleepover next week.
We're so excited about it. We're actually going to film a little podcast episode during it where we live do MASH and FMK and just weird
fandom sleepover party games.
Yeah, while we're in our pajamas. It's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so cute. I'm really hyped. So that's my high. Rachel, what's your high for this?
So my high is pretty funny. I didn't text you this when it happened because I wanted to tell you live.
Oh, okay.
So I was talking to somebody about the podcast and or something, and they mentioned there's a podcast they've been trying to get onto for a while. And I was like, well, if you want, you can be on my podcast as a guest. And they were like, shut up, no way. I would feel like I made it.
What?
All caps, made it if I was on your podcast. And I was so flattered. I was like, wait, have we even made it? I didn't made it. Apparently people feel like we've made it. Isn't that the best compliment you've ever heard in your life?
So
I know. And then they were like, you're really important to the fandom.
Shut up! Oh my gosh, Rachel.
It was
that's amazing.
really moving. And this creator's really cool too. So she will be on the podcast soon.
Amazing.
We'll just have to strategize what we want to do with her.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
It's a really fun hat. So what's your mid?
My mid is that I went to Colorado this past weekend, which the trip going there, being in Colorado was not a mid. The actual driving there and back was mid.
Yeah.
Because I was the one driver, drove 6 hours there.
It's a long time still.
6 hours back, took some breaks, but it's exhausting. Long car rides are not my favorite at all. I literally hate them. And
Same.
I get car sick, so I took Dramamine as well.
So did it make you sleepy? Is that why you had to have it now?
No, I think I was just same position for too long, and I did
I stretch once an hour like a weirdo.
Yeah, no, I did pull over and stretch and stuff sometimes, but I have to take Dramamine when I fly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll try it for car rides.
Oh.
It seemed to help, but the drive back yesterday was insane because it started off being nice and sunny, and then it was we're in a dust storm now. So there was just dust in random parts, and that was a little terrifying.
Did you hit snow when you came back to Utah?
Yeah,
because it was snowing here.
Yeah, so when I got into this canyon, Spanish Fork Canyon, I think, it started snowing, and then it was raining, and then it was just slushy, and then it was just rain. And it was also very, very windy too, so I kind of experienced everything except a hurricane.
That is so draining. I don't know how you're here tonight. Especially because you also live streamed playing Exploding Horcruxes with me right before this.
No, it was really fun. It's all in day's work.
You are my hero. I could never. I'd be I need a week now.
Oh, I know. If only I could be no one contact me for a week. Do not, no, but it's okay. I gotta say though, with it still being rainy today, it made working from home a little more enjoyable.
Oh, that's
because it was nice background noise,
Oh, totally. I'm a big fan of snow, and I can be because yeah. Everyone should work from home. The whole corporate mandate to come in is stupid.
Totally. So what is your mid?
So my mid is kind of stupid, but it meant a lot to me. Okay, so Marvel has this new collab with Coca-Cola.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Okay. Because I was trying to get you one, and so I wasn't telling you.
Oh.
They have this collab with Coca-Cola, and there's these big displays for it. If you go into a Smith's Marketplace and stuff, but I've seen them in Targets and everything too. It's the 12-pack, and then they have a bunch of different Marvel characters on it that look kind of like the comic book versions.
Okay.
And so I really want, because they don't have good female representation, honestly, of the female superheroes, because of course they don't. But I really want an Iron Man. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I'll settle for pretty much anyone. Except I really don't like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Well, so he just bought me 2, like, of the cases today, thinking because of the big display in Smith's that every can had a different character on it, kind of like when they did Pokemon Oreos.
Yeah.
Bitch, no. Every single can is just Deadpool.
No.
And so it might be, and it was in my 2 cases like that, so it might be that every case just has one character, but it's super unclear, and I was so frustrated, because, like,
no.
it would have been okay to not get Iron Man, like, maybe he's more rare or whatever, but it's, like, to just not even, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean it's just Deadpool?
It's so stupid, but
That makes sense. What a cool collab, though. But
yeah.
Need more of the female
So
superheroes.
maybe I'll get one cool and update y'all eventually. And then I actually have a secondary, like, slight mid.
Okay, let's go.
For FanCorner, I've been more, like, audacious lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been, like, tagging people I have no business tagging. Mugglecast. I tagged Mugglecast the other night and was like, when someone called us a big deal, I, like, screenshotted it and was like, oh, maybe one day we'll be big enough to be on Mugglecast. They did not say anything.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. They're big. They probably didn't even see it. Like, they have a lot of stuff going on, you know? Because they're awesome. But, like, so I've been putting myself out there, like, that example, like, in weird ways a lot lately. And, you know, you don't hear back from a lot of people, and it's just, like, it's, like, totally fine. But, like, having audacity of a white man is draining. They bounce back from it better than me.
Right.
So I'm working on that part of it. So that's my other, like, slight mid. Okay. But, on that awkward note,
let's talk about Tortured Poets Department. Yeah. Rachel had already done a part 1 with Brian talking about the first half, but including the prophecy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't listened to it yet.
You haven't listened to the prophecy?
No.
You're, oh my god!
Of course I have. Dude, the prophecy's like my
like, it has been too many weeks.
No. The prophecy's like my life.
That makes more sense. Okay. That makes more sense.
No.
How dare you?
I haven't listened to part 1.
I don't care.
But today we're gonna focus on side B, or the 2 a.m. release.
Yeah. Wasn't it? It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, 2. Yeah, right. Midnight for us. 2 a.m. for everybody else. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it, but first, before we get into that, let's just talk our overarching sort of vibes of the album, and then we'll get into some specific songs.
Right, yeah, totally. So I, honestly, a lot of people that know me in real life know that, like, I'm a huge Swiftie, and so they've been like, what are your thoughts, as one obviously would. And I really, really love this album.
You don't be an idiot, not.
No, for real. But I feel like, with some time, it could maybe become my favorite album.
Yeah.
Because I need to marinate it on some more other than, like, almost a month. But I really love how raw and real it is. And it's the most, like, Taylor's not shy from being emotional in her music, but this is the most emotional I feel like we've seen her be.
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Much more than others. It's not like as hidden under mystery and guise as normal.
Yeah.
It's very upfront. Like you know exactly what she's talking about. She's not shying away from talking about really dark things and dark feelings.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why I love it so much as, like, a girly with depression. It's like, oh, I'm feeling so seen. Like, if all these things happen to Taylor, like, and not just, like, every other person on the planet, experiences these raw emotions, especially as, like, women, like, it makes me feel seen and, like, somebody who's super famous understands.
Yeah, I honestly feel like it's, when you said, like, especially as a woman, I think that's so key, because in a lot of ways I think it's a very feminist album. We have that song, I don't remember all the names. It's that really long or when it's, like, talking about, like, Claire Vetter.
Oh,
and everyone.
Clara Bow.
Yeah.
Clara Bow. And she names off all these other female.
She names off so many female figures, and I dug into Clara Bow, and it's her story. Like, she was, like, the first it girl.
Yeah.
And, like, it's, like, such a harrowing story where she ended up, and to hear Taylor be like, oh, you look like Taylor Swift and, like, whatever. And Taylor, I saw an interview where Taylor talked about that, and she's like, yeah, because that's how they pit women against each other. you know, oh, you have this thing that this already famous woman has.
So like,
so you're like taking it from her. But you're like better than her because you're, you know, you have an edge she doesn't have. You have a thing she doesn't have. And it's like really weird instead of just like letting people be great. Like it's like you have to pit women against each other. They can't just be awesome. Like you can't have two great actresses at once or singers or whatever. Like you have to pit them against each other. And I feel like that theme is throughout the album of just like, you know, I think about a lot of lyrics where it's like men making her feel like she's crazy because they treated her like she's crazy, and then it's like really it's because they were doing that. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I think it's a very feminist album.
No, 100%. And maybe that's why like so many women resonate with it.
Absolutely.
You know, which it's so stunning. And like another thing that I really love about the album is how a lot of our songs, we have some like, you know, poppier songs on there, right? But I love how so many of them are like your good melancholic ballads. You know, I love seeing the softer side, like musical side, I guess you could say, of Taylor Swift, where it's not like, you know, poppy and like whatever all the time, if that makes sense. Not all the time. She's never been that way all the time.
No.
But like, I get you kind of see what
I think what you're trying to say. Yeah. But tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I think what you're trying to say, because she's always been like poppy and had really long ballads. Yeah. I think what you're trying to say is like in this one, she seemed less to care less about like how it would play on the radio. Like they're like, and maybe that just comes with the fact that like now she feels empowered to tell her label, like, look, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like this is what it is. Get on board. And like they trust the process now with Taylor.
Yeah.
Because I definitely feel like, you know, we had some poppier songs for sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm to that point now where I know the music well enough, where even though these songs are like some of the most harrowing lyrics, like now I can be like, oh yeah, we're like getting down to like the saddest songs in the world. Totally. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm to that point, but like she wasn't making it to sound good on the radio.
Yeah, you said it pretty much what I was trying to say.
I read your mind. It's not what you said, but I could tell. You know?
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to get there.
You got there.
The train
I understood. So
the train
that's all that matters.
The station.
It's fun to, I think, how many people. I mean, we're wearing our Taylor Swift merch right now, which makes sense because we're recording podcasts. But I feel like, you know, I was at C2E2 a weekend or two ago, and so many Swifties, like people that either were wearing stuff or were not, you know, they relate to you because of the like Swift merch, and suddenly you're a safe person.
Yeah.
And fandoms in general are that way, but I feel like as such a woman-specific fandom with Taylor Swift, there's such a sense of safety in it, and it was really beautiful.
Totally.
I did have some men say some things, though.
Ugh, of course they did.
So let me paint you a picture.
Yeah, please.
I'm in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Because of my torn meniscus, I'm fine. Don't worry. I just couldn't stand for 8 hours, or walk that much. I'm doing so much better. I think because I rested.
Who would have thought?
Weird.
I'm so
weird. I can do my makeup and like do my dishes and not be in excruciating pain. Yeah. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. But so I was in a wheelchair for C2E2, and I would wheel myself to the bathroom, and it was not an accessible location, but that's fine. And it's really hard in a crowd because I'm by myself in a manual wheelchair, wheeling myself. My arms look great. You can't tell in the shirt, but they are ripped. It was a workout. But, and I had on probably this Taylor Swift shirt, honestly. And there were some guys coming this other way. And I don't know if because I'm in a wheelchair, they just thought like I couldn't hear them. Or like, what the fuck was happening? But the way they were literally like, they were like, like turned to each other, you know, bro to bro. He was like, I just hate these Swifties, blah, blah, blah. And his bro's like, yeah, I know, right? Like, they think they're better. And they looked at my shirt. Like, I knew they were talking about me. Like, I'm trying to get through the crowd, but it's like, there's crowd crush. And we're going, and I was just like, just because I'm lower than you, right? Because they're standing and I'm in a wheelchair, doesn't mean I can't hear you.
Seriously.
Do you really feel the need to do that? It was just so funny.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
What are we doing?
But I'm excited for all the new Taylor Swift bracelets we're all gonna make.
I know. I saw some shots of her rehearsing for like what everyone's speculating, understandably, is a new part of the Eras tour.
Yeah.
you know.
I'm gonna have to start watching them live again, like on TikTok
Seriously.
live, which I'm super excited about.
I'm excited that, like, it makes the Eras Tour like this ongoing, growing thing, which is really exciting.
I've had to come to terms with the fact that I cannot go again.
Yeah, same.
And that it's okay, and also that, like, it's bad for my anxiety anyway. But I'm so excited to see the TikTok lives, and it's like such a sense of community.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just excited to see even like the bracelets people are making.
Mm-hmm.
I made we did the trend. Have you seen the trend on TikTok where people are like, which to be fair, it's like it doesn't quite match the song, but that's how Swifties have always been. We don't quite match the song. Where people are like from Guilty as Sin. Mm-hmm. There's that line about, you know, what if he'd written mine on my upper thigh in my mind? And apparently some women, supposedly, I've never seen any woman actually do it. I've not seen any actual tattoos of it. But everyone's been asking their boyfriends to write mine a few times in a notebook to see what it would look like. Yeah. And I had Brian do it, and he had zero context. And it was so funny. Because I had him do it when I hopped in the shower. And again, no context. He had no idea what it was for. I was like, write mine in a few different ways. He was like, what do you mean? He was like, I don't get it. And I was like, just write the word mine like a few different ways in this notebook. And it was a squashmallow notebook to make it even better. Yeah. And one of them, a TikTok commenter responded and said it looked like he'd carved it out of wood. Like, I feel like it would have been hard to write normally like that, so it was like really funny. And then a different one, he literally put like, so there's a bunch of different mines, and then there's a yo mine bitch. So obviously now I need to get that as a temporary tattoo. Like you can like send it into those sites to put on my upper thigh. That's
so funny. That song is one of my favorite songs on the album, though.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And I'm like addicted to it in a weird way. Yeah. I've gone through phases with all of them, but yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, for sure. I guess before we start to dive into specific songs, what are some of your top favorites?
On the whole album?
Yeah.
Girl, you're asking impossible questions, right?
Okay.
Because, so the first few days I wouldn't have said Guilty as Sin.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been on there.
Right.
And now maybe it is. And so I'm
just saying it's a revolving question, right? But
okay, I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
At this point in time.
So still The Prophecy. Mm-hmm. I put it on an annoying amount of times yesterday while it was snowing. We drove outside. Mm-hmm. And I just because it kind of matched what I was going through, I felt like. Yeah. And the weather, you know. Mm-hmm. So The Prophecy... Thank You, Amy, and The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived.
Nice. Those are all good ones.
Yeah. What about you?
My top few, I Hate It Here.
Yeah.
Number one, solidly. And then I really like Guilty as Sin.
Nice.
And Fortnite and The Prophecy.
Fortnite's so fucking good.
It's so good.
I think that's why I struggled to get into the album for a minute. I have finished it.
Song. And it's a banger.
Yeah, so I was like, I couldn't move past it. I have now officially finished the album, in case anyone's wondering.
Yeah.
Officially finished the album. But no, I just kept going back to it. You watched the music video, right?
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Stop it.
So good.
The imagery was phenomenal.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Obsessed. There was to that song, a wedding boutique did a TikTok that was wedding dresses, inspired by the music video. Mm-hmm. And one of them I was obsessed with. And I was like, Brian, what do you think of this, babe? And he's like, I hate it.
I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's fine.
That's so funny.
Okay, so I think we should get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so first up, I did not rig this. Thank You, Amy.
Yeah.
I guess I made the outline, so maybe I did rig it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, what do you think of the song?
It's growing on me. At first, I'm so dumb. At first, because I was like, why do I have these random letters, upper caps? Because it was really late. So,
no, that's fine.
So
I don't judge you. Everyone said it was about Kim K, and so I knew that, and I still didn't notice the upper caps for 2 days.
Yeah, and the next day, one of my friends was like, "Oh my gosh, it's about Kim K," and I was like, "Huh? It is?"
You're like, her name is Amy.
Yeah, actually. So stupid because I listened to it at midnight.
Yeah, you're like, I'm tired. There's a lot to process right now.
I know. But it's one of those songs, I listened to the ones that I had an idea of that we would, listen to on the way over here. And, it really is a song that like is growing on me because I was kind of like indifferent at first, but then like as I was listening to it, it kind of the overall sound and song was giving like Fearless and Speak Now kind of era vibes because of the prominent guitar and like the more upbeatness of it.
Yeah, totally.
Which kind of gave me a nice throwback in my mind, and I'm like, yeah, like it made me think of how Taylor obviously has not been a stranger to calling out specific people in her songs, but I was like, yeah, we're getting feisty, we're specifically calling her out. And like the line in the song where she says, I'm gonna butcher it, but basically where she says kind of like, you know, this all wouldn't be here without you. I'm like, how powerful is that?
Yeah, so it's okay, so I really like the song, obviously.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it my first listen either. Or not, I mean, I did not like it, but it just wasn't. Anyway, whatever.
It wasn't a standout.
Yeah, it didn't stand out. But obviously, let's talk about Kim K first before we kind of get into like what it means to us more and like just more generalized. So the Kim K thing. First of all, brief synopsis for those of you that don't know, because I had someone that like DM'd me because they knew I liked Taylor Swift and they were like, I don't get it. Yeah. Okay, so everyone knows Kanye West interrupted, like it was like a moment, like everyone knows.
Everyone knows that.
Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift. What I didn't realize, because I don't know a lot about the Kardashians, is Kim K was actually married to Kanye West.
Yeah, I knew that.
So I didn't know that. Okay. But so for backstory, because Kim K was married to Kanye West, she obviously was defending her husband. I get that. But then it gets dicey, right? Because then Kanye West decides to come out with a song, which now we all know, like, that bitch Taylor wanna be famous unless or whatever, she owes me sex, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Really gross lyrics.
Yeah, really horrible.
So he came out with that song and he said Taylor gave him permission. And Kim K herself was tweeting about how she was like, Taylor's lying, like she gave us permission to do this, and they leaked a video, a recording of a phone call that they had with Taylor Swift. But quickly it became apparent that that was a doctored like thing. Like that was not how the phone call went down. And then someone even leaked footage of Kim K and Kanye like editing that video.
Oh my gosh.
Which, who did you have to piss off for that to happen? Do you know what I mean?
Don't you dare fuck with Taylor.
And it's so crazy because, you know, when Kanye did that, so to Taylor was a child.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And so this all happened, 2 years later, but she's still essentially a child.
Right.
And so it's so crazy because we're talking about some of the biggest names in the country, and they were just like attacking this child. And it got to the point where Kim K even released like I think it was on Snapchat, like a video of this whole thing, or Instagram stories. And she like put a bunch of snake emojis, like calling Taylor Swift a snake.
Yeah.
Which was a huge insult because it was before Taylor had like reclaimed it. And to be fair, that's why Taylor reclaimed it in Reputation.
And why she took isn't it also why she took a big social media break for years?
Yeah, huge, because trending on Twitter, like top 5 trends on Twitter was Taylor Swift should kill herself. Like murder Taylor Swift, like whatever, like dark stuff. And then at Kanye West concerts, they were chanting awful things. But so the important thing here is, okay, because I had someone talking to me about this, and they were like, okay, well, why is she mad at, like, it feels like Taylor's mad at Kim K for something her husband did. And I was like, she didn't need to doctor a video.
Yeah, no.
Because she was actively part of it. I actually totally get why in, like, the media, she'd be like, oh, like, my husband just had a weird night. I get that. I really do.
No, for real.
Like, that's, like, there's, like, a lot of dynamics there.
Yeah.
But she didn't need to, like, post the emoji thing.
She didn't have to, like, be petty.
No, she didn't have to keep giving interviews, like, saying awful things.
Yeah.
She didn't need to do any of those things. And so I feel like we're not holding a woman accountable for a man's actions. Like, Kim had her own actions. I get supporting your man. I actually really do. It was giving the same energy a little bit of, like, did you hear the whole thing with Simone Biles a few months ago?
No.
Okay, so you know who she is, though, right?
Yes.
So, won a gazillion medals, right? One of the best gymnasts we've ever had in the world, much less America.
Right.
Okay. She's married to a guy, and that guy went on a podcast and popped the fuck off and was like, oh, because they were like, how did you catch like such a catch as like Simone Biles? Because like she's the most decorated athlete of all time or something. And he was like, he's like a footballer, but like not a good one. And that's not coming from me because I don't know anything about football. That's coming from the people, man. That's coming from his stats. Okay,
the people,
like sources. Okay, like I don't know shit. I know Travis Kelce.
That's all I know too.
That's all she wrote. But, and he's like, oh, well, she begged for me, you know, I'm the catch in this relationship, which is offensive. Even if he was the more famous person, it's an offensive thing to say about your partner.
Horrible.
It was very, like, misogynistic and terrible. Simone Biles came out and was like, because everyone was like, literally everyone talks about you, like, the trend was, or, like, what was trending, the hashtags, was, like, Simone Biles' husband. That's what people call him.
Yeah.
They don't know his name. I still don't know his name.
I don't know
this
his
whole thing. And so it's like, and Simone Biles has come out and been like, oh, I love my husband, and we often argue about who's the better athlete. And I'm like, first of all, it's clear, but okay.
Yeah.
Say. Like that poor girl. But I don't judge her for that.
Yeah.
Because I feel sad for her, but I don't judge her for that. But it's different, because she's not like actively attacking other people. Yeah. Which is what Kim K was doing. Yeah. And I think that's why that's a whole different thing.
100%. Thank you for the lesson. Because I didn't know all the tea, because I don't give a fuck about the Kardashians.
I had to find out about the tea because my friend was like, and I was like, all right.
Okay, time to go on.
I was like, let me figure this out and get back to you. So I gave her a TED Talk, and I don't think she was expecting one. So that's my bad. In the outline, it says, give this whole thing in 20 seconds, and the way that did not take 20 seconds.
Nah, it's all good.
It's fine. Anyway, and then in recent news, I'm sure you heard Kim K told Taylor she needs to, quote, move on.
Oh, yeah.
Be so serious.
Be so serious.
Could you imagine someone that bullied you when you grew up? It's like, you need to move on. You can't have an emotional reaction to me bullying you.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck you.
Not apologizing.
Yeah.
Not whatever. You need to move on. You could have moved on.
She could have moved on years ago.
Yeah, originally.
She keeps bringing it up. Bitch.
What an idiot. I also, you know, I will say, as far as diss tracks goes, it's really not that bad.
No, it's really not.
It's tame.
It's very tame. Like, compared to what she's, you know, like, said about other, like, people she's dated, you know? Yeah. Like, obviously, different story. But, like, honestly, a bop.
Or I even think, like, compared to diss tracks from, like, other artists.
Yeah.
Like, there's the famous diss tracks in rap going on right now. And they're much more to the point. Like, even what Kanye said about Taylor, much more to the point. And whereas this is kind of like, we all knew it was Kim K, but she's, like, thanking her low-key.
Yeah.
And she, like, talks, mostly Taylor is talking about her feelings.
Oh, yeah.
In it. Whereas, like, I feel like usually diss tracks, like, attack the other person as a human being.
Totally.
And Taylor never does that.
No.
And I think that's important to know.
Yeah.
So.
That is a good note to make because, yeah, as I was listening to it, I'm like, obviously, she's expressing her feelings about the situation and how it upset her and how even her angelic mom was like, I want her dead. Like,
yeah, that's probably the harshest line.
That was the harshest line. But, and then basically, like, her mom's saying, like, I want to kill her when her mom's known for being such a sweetie patootie, right? And Taylor just talking about her emotions throughout the whole thing and being the bigger woman.
Yeah, no. So, one of my favorite lines in the entire thing, like, getting, like, kind of away from the Kim K, getting, like, to the personal is, while you were throwing punches, I was building something.
Yeah.
And I feel like that hits so hard because we all have an Amy in our lives.
Oh, 100%.
If you don't have an Amy, I need you to look in the mirror because you're probably a bully.
You're probably her.
This is an intervention. I love you. Work on that.
Go to therapy.
We all have one. You know, hopefully not a familiar figure, but for a lot of people, it's a familiar figure. Just constantly tearing them down. An ex-best friend. Yeah. Arch nemesis at work, you know? I have an Amy. Absolutely, I have an Amy. And the things she said about me, and the way she perceived my reputation to other people, in my sphere of influence, it was awful.
Totally.
And you think about it a lot. And, like, every time you're trying to do something with your life, it's their voice.
Yeah.
In the back of your mind.
When you're doubting yourself and
Absolutely.
like, you know.
Well, there's always like, oh my God, what if they're right?
Yeah. Which like,
or does everyone think this? And this is the only person that said this.
Yeah.
To my face.
Totally.
Ugh. So hard. But Taylor was building something. And I think that's the whole, like, I think how the perfectly encapsulates the song, like, because even in it, she's not really throwing punches. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
Except for the Taylor Swift mama.
Yeah.
There's no lines that are like throwing punches at this person as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's so beautiful because, like, what do you want? Would you rather spend your time doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, trying to build a legacy and help people or trying to tear people down?
Mm-hmm. Also, like, directly after that, where she's, you know, because it's part of the chorus, she said, fuck you, aiming to the night sky as blood was gushing. I'm like, yeah, so relatable. We're like, yeah, fuck you, so-and-so. Like, whenever we're angry, and like, that's so relatable.
Yeah, it is.
It's so real.
I also really like where she says it wasn't a fair fight.
That too, yeah.
I think it cuts so deep. And I think it's so, like, that's, I mean, it's inherent in bullying, right?
Yeah.
It's a abuse of a power dynamic.
Right.
Whether that be age, influence, which popularity, social media followers, or just like your high school popular kids, you know, wealth. All those things can be a contributor. And I, you know, in the Kim K example, like, Kim K was older and should have known better. She was more influential at the time.
Yeah.
All those things. So it's like, it's such an interesting thing to look at in our own lives too, is like, yeah, it wasn't a fair fight. And I think it's something we need to remind ourselves of too when we're going through these bullying moments. It's like, wait, this isn't a fair fight. I don't need to judge myself for how I showed up to this fight because, like, they were cheating.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Bullies don't bully when they know they can't win.
Right.
I mean, luckily, ironically, Kim K did lose.
Yes.
Because people outed her, but, like,
no,
yeah.
Seriously. Well, along with, like, you know, building up things, I also love the lyric where she says, I built a legacy that you can't undo.
Yeah.
Like, Taylor's become, she always was an icon, but she's become this, you know, global person that everyone looks up to, and, you know, we all love her, relate to her, we stan her, and she made this legacy and community for herself that, honestly, like,
no one can
undo. And also, like, nothing can compare.
Because even if Taylor were to decline in popularity at some point, like, we had a Reputation 2.0 or whatever, like, even if that were to happen, the legacy of Taylor, like, golden era, which I'm not saying she is peak. That's not what I'm saying.
We're not saying she's peak.
But say it was, like, hypothetical, the legacy of what she built during her golden era is there forever. Totally. Like, she hit so many records that, like, she's broken so many records.
Yeah.
And that's something, like, yeah, you just can't erase those.
100%.
Also, can we talk about how freaking awesome that must feel for Taylor Swift? Because, like, isn't that everyone's dream? Like, when people bully you,
to like, the big fuck you to your bully.
Yeah, like she waited to do this diss track until she'd been Time Person of the Year. Yeah. And she'd won a gazillion Grammys at this point. Like, she waited and waited and waited before she's like, haha.
She was like, hold my phone, bitch.
Yeah.
And then, like...
Yeah, not her first Grammy, not her second Grammy. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, she just kept on going. And, like, isn't that the dream? When someone spends that long tearing you down, to be like, look, I won. And, like, I mean, to be fair, I don't know if any of us can achieve that to the same level, but it's so flipping cool.
It's so inspiring.
It really is. Okay. We should probably move on for time because your host can talk for a long time.
So
we'll go faster now.
We gotta go faster.
So High School.
So High School. That one, I was initially kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it. But again, it grew on me because it's really cute and it's very innocent and, like, gives us some insight to how she feels about Travis and is so hopeful.
It's so hopeful. And I think, like, that's the first time we've seen a love song that's not as, like, anxious from Taylor.
In a while.
Which makes sense now that we know what we know. Even some of the old love songs, it's like... So that was really good to see. I think of lines like, I'll drink what you think and I'm high. And, like, she's blushing. She's whatever. Like, like, that's a real feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I get high with you sometimes.
Yes.
Like, we're having so much fun that I'm like, I'm acting drunk. Like, and I'm not. And so I think that that's something so fun when you just love someone so much and you're vibing with them so much.
Yeah.
And so to see Taylor feeling that and experiencing that, I think that's like a good thing to remind us all is like, this is what it should be.
This is what it should be. This is how it should feel.
Yeah.
And how exciting it is. And
yeah.
It genuinely made me so happy because it was a good, like, happy song in the break of all the depresso songs, which I do love the depressing songs.
Yeah.
But it was a good, like, oh.
It's a really cute song.
Really cute. And how, like, it's like, oh, it's so high school. Like, it just makes me think because that's how you imagine and, like, feel when you are in high school and you find somebody you think is going to be your forever love or whatever it is, have you. And, like, feeling those more innocent, cutesy, fun feelings, right? And I'm like, oh.
Except for getting frisky under the blanket.
Okay. But, like, speaking generally.
Yeah, okay. Although, so I know it says stifled sigh, but the way that could mean so many things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that could be, like, he brushed her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. In a sexual way. But, like, we don't know. I feel like I've seen people, like, jumping to some conclusions where I'm like, guys, you're telling me you've never touched your partner's butt in public. Be so serious. Be so serious. I do think we see her anxiety at one point when she says, are you gonna marry, kiss, or kill me?
Oh, yeah.
That's where we see her anxious attachment coming up, but it makes sense that that's gonna take time for her to heal.
100%.
And it's very relatable. I hope she can get to that point where she's feeling trusted and loved.
Yeah.
But I think honestly the coolest part about this song for me was Travis's reaction to the song.
Yeah.
Travis's team came out, they put out a statement. Like, yes, Travis heard the song. He loves that he's part of the songs. He hears them ahead of time. And he knows that's part of being in Taylor Swift's life. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, you know what? That's how it always should have been.
Yeah.
I know people get to have boundaries or whatever. And maybe that's like, yeah, I get to listen to it first or whatever. But like, the way I feel like Joe Alwyn, like, stifled her as a human being.
100%. That's so clear.
And where she didn't feel like she could creatively, like, express anything. I mean, you can see it was killing her, right? Like, we're talking about how mad she is and how, you know, she's suicidal, she's whatever. She becomes an alcoholic. And I think, like, this freeing nature of this relationship being like, I want to see what you create. I'm excited for what you create. I want to know what you're thinking. I think that's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful and so much healthier.
I just can't wrap my mind around, like, being like, oh, I want to date Taylor Swift, but, like, I don't want her to do the thing that Taylor Swift's famous for.
No, seriously.
Be so serious.
That sounds literally like Joe in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's what happened to Clara Bow, actually, too. Mm-hmm. When she got married and she wasn't making movies anymore that she started to, like, kind of go crazy. And I bet it's because she wasn't making movies. Like, her husband took away the thing that made her her. So, anyway, moving on. The manuscript. Mm-hmm. The manuscript. We're bringing it down now.
Yeah, the last song on the album. Oof. Woof.
I cried the first time I listened to it, and so I was like, I'm not ready for you yet. And it took me a while to circle back.
No, I was listening to it on the way over and I started crying.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one. I've only listened to it a handful of times because it's so devastating. Yeah. But it's so good. Like, even just the first line, now and then she reads the manuscript of the entire tour de faire. It makes me think of how, like, how we always will just reread things in our heads. It's like going through the manuscript, going through your story of, like, this is what happened. Yeah. And, like, and
I think about how time changes how we perceive those events.
Totally.
Your truth changes. My therapist talks about that a lot. Mm-hmm. How, like, it doesn't mean, like, you, like, are misremembering or something. It's like, later she has a line where she says, you said I was so wise for my age, so everything was above the board. Yeah. But now I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I think that's the perfect encapsulation of, like, because she picked back up this manuscript, she's like, now that I'm older, this wasn't above the board. This wasn't okay. Yeah. And she's not calling it what it was. Mm-hmm. Because that white man is a lucky fucking bastard. But, like, it's so clear that it wasn't okay. Yeah. And anyone looking at that age gap could say that. Totally. But, like, you just wonder how not okay it got. you know, how much pressure there was. But I think the same is true for us when we're looking through those manuscripts, is once you kind of do get older and learn more things, you're like,
yeah, you kind of look at past situations, you're like, ooh, that was not okay when I thought it was, or I thought this was so perfect when it wasn't,
yeah,
you know?
or like you were missing key information that you find out later, you know? That's it's so heartbreaking. I definitely think it's an allegory for her redoing All Too Well.
Yeah. For sure.
Which is really beautiful. And just like All Too Well, like I feel like the beginning when he's like when they're talking about like donors, like I'll donate my heart to you, like whatever. It's giving love bombing, it's giving manipulation. But then when it says, if sex is half as good as the conversation, soon we'll be pushing strollers, is what he told her.
Yeah.
That's definitely fucking love bombing.
Oh, 100%.
That is so manipulative and not okay. Like, because that's what they do, right? Like, you're gonna have all these things with me, and so you feel like you're closer. It like fosters this false sense of like closeness right before the piece. Yeah. So fucked up. And like, what did that get him? I don't know. It's just, it's really upsetting.
Also, like, looking backwards might be the only way to move forward.
Yeah.
So relatable.
Well, because you have to, and people don't realize this. Like, I feel like, you know, so I'm in EMDR therapy for my childhood trauma and things. And people are like, well, why would you do that to yourself? You know, why would you relive those things? And it's like, well, because when I spill a drink on my couch, I start apologizing and crying to Brian because I think he's going to hit me. Yeah. That's not normal.
It's not normal.
Brian's never hit me. The point is that was from my trauma. Yeah. But so my reactions are still hardwired from things that happened in the past. And like, so yeah, you have to revisit it. Yeah. And heal what happened. Totally. If it's still affecting your life, you absolutely have to. Yeah. And for these big, awful things, like love bombing at the bare minimum, I think some other things, yeah, you have to go back and learn from and like heal from that. Otherwise, how is she going to be able to have a healthy relationship?
Right. How else are you going to move forward, have healthier relationships? Yeah. And like understand and help process what happened.
Absolutely.
Because I even have an online friend right now that's doing, you know, the same kind of therapy you are. And he realized a whole bunch of stuff that he had forgotten. Yeah. And how it's affected him. And so he like kind of pushed all of our friends away in like a rash like reaction, but then like kind of came back because I was like, hey, like, are you okay? And he was like, no, but you know, thanks for checking in, and I'm working through this and whatever, so I can move forward. So like it's so relatable to like, and we all look back at situations, yeah, and we all have to kind of reassess them and move forward. Go to therapy, y'all. For real.
Take your anti-Ds.
What?
Take your anti-Ds.
Me needing to take them. Oh my gosh, I'm sure my little alarm just went off on my phone. Like, take your drugs. Oh. But it's hard, and you've got to put in the work to be healthier and move forward. And this album is like, and the song is Taylor processing all of that, yeah. And that's what makes it so beautiful. Yeah. And hard.
Yeah. I mean, she's looking back at these facts, like, you know, even the age regression she talks about. Yeah. Where she's like sleeping with her mom again, and she's like only eating cereal. And I think it just highlights the inappropriateness of the age gap. And I think it takes those adult eyes of being like, whoa. One of my favorite lines is when she talks about how she goes back to dating boys her own age, and they have dartboards on the back of their doors. He was way too old for her. Yeah. If boys her age had dartboards on the back of their doors. Yeah. Or teenagers. Totally. Be so serious.
Seriously.
It's really heartbreaking.
Totally.
This is your reminder that age is not just a number. It's a power and manipulation tool. Today's ad is brought to you by Cow Cat Clean. I actually know her personally. I met her at LeakyCon last year. She's so cute and so fun. Like, she's like giving like, I don't know, bubbly puff. I don't even know if she's a pup. I'm gonna have to ask her. I might have just like really insulted her. But she makes the cutest pins. So if you're a pin collector, you're definitely gonna want to check her out. I personally own, like, she has like a little magical platypus. So cute. But then even better than that, she's really known. She makes these like pygmy puff like hair clips.
Shut up.
They're so cute.
That's awesome.
And then she's just like working on like claw clips right now.
Okay.
That are like other like magical creations.
Amazing.
So she's like super hype and adorable, and you should follow her and buy her freaking shit.
So what's her at?
It's at CowCatClean, and it'll be linked in the show notes down below.
Woohoo.
Tell her that I sent you there.
Hey.
We're gonna come up on Jalaire's favorite song now. It's a little sandwich.
Little sandy witch.
So introduce it.
Yeah, so I hate it here. And
you hate it here? I signed up for that. I was so annoyed.
No, we need to know
It
that.
occurred to me right before, and I was like, I have to do this.
Oh, I love it.
No,
so
it's like this serious song.
Yeah. So I hate it here. This was one of the songs, like, when I heard it the first time, I immediately started crying, and I was like, I feel so seen by Taylor in this song, because I kind of view it as like the fandom girlies anthem.
Oh yeah.
You know?
The amount of edits.
Yeah. It's the fandom girlies anthem, because she talks about, like, you know, being a consolation prize for somebody, and being like, I'm just, the only place I find, you know, refuge is escaping into fictional places, and how it's
secret places in my mind.
Yeah, it's her own secret place.
It's
like,
giving book talk.
Yeah.
It's giving like our Pride and Prejudice girlies.
Oh, 100%. And how it's like, you know, people need a key to get to, it's only mine. And I read about it in a book when I was a precocious child. And so, like, she's like describing how, like, she hates reality. And so the only place she finds refuge is in, like, fiction. And that's so relatable. And how, like, I love reading to escape.
Yeah.
And be in those fun fictional worlds. Oh, it's fandom. It's giving fandom. And then also, like, in her bridge, this is kind of what struck me, is like, I'm a people-pleasing girly. I'm working on it with my therapist. I think I've gotten a lot better. But she says, I'm lonely, but I'm good. I'm bitter, but I swear I'm fine. I save all my romanticism for my inner life, and I get lost on purpose. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's giving, like, putting on your face, being like, I'm going to make sure, like, everything else is okay and not bother others. Because I'm going to people please and make sure everything else is okay, even though I'm lonely and I'm bitter. And I only find these romantic ideals in fiction, because she's not finding it in real life.
Yeah, I also think it kind of sounds like she's like making up fantasies in her mind, not just like reading and like maladaptive daydreaming.
Totally.
Which I've done my whole life.
Same.
I thought we all did that.
Yep.
Same. I think it's why we're creative people.
Probably.
Robust imaginations.
100%.
Because we worked on the skill. And so I feel like it's kind of the same with Taylor. Like, she's clearly working on the skill of, like, using the romantic fantasies in her mind and building up this other world to escape to. It's really beautiful.
100%.
Also, I love that it's like, what a metaphor for being Delulu.
That comment made me laugh in a good way. Because it really is. It's like, let's be Delulu.
You know? But, like, this sounds like, so much prettier.
Yeah, it sounds so much prettier when you're like, let's be Delulu. Like, you know, but...
Yeah, let's be Delulu starting to get a little, like, cringy, maybe? Like, like, I'm Delulu. Like, it's like, okay, babe.
Like, okay.
But it's like, I'm gonna go to secret places in my mind? What? Like, it makes you sound intellectual? Mm-hmm. I like it.
No, 100%.
Yeah. We have to probably comment on the controversy of the song.
Yeah.
So there's a line where she talks about, you know, everyone's playing a game, asking what decade would you rather live in, right. And she names a decade, but without all the racism and the being sold as property.
Yes.
Or being sold off to the highest bidder. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of controversy with that, because if you just take that, like, it sounds bad. Yeah. But what I love about it is, I mean, I'm a white woman. We have to, like, let's call facts facts. We're white women.
Yes.
And we have to recognize our privilege there. But I'm sure Jalera will back me up on this. Every freaking friend group I've been in since a freaking middle school, for some reason, people are like, oh, like at parties and shit.
Yeah.
Like in like round tables, people are like, what era would you like to live in?
Yeah.
And it's like such an uncomfortable question. And so to watch Taylor have responded in a way that made all those people realize, because her bringing up those things, racism and sexism, made people go, oh yeah, maybe this game was never fun to begin with.
No, yeah.
I've always been that way, and it drives people nuts.
Yeah.
What's her face? That girl that you...
Oh, yeah.
She hated it about me. So it's like this really funny, like, little thing, I think.
Yeah, well, because, like, I mean, I've done that as well. I'm like, yeah, 1800s. I'd love to live there. Jane Austen, all that fun, period dramas, whatever. But I always, like, never really enjoyed the game because I'm like, oh, that'd be fun. But then you don't have, like, there's a lot of things that sucked during that time.
Yeah, and sucked is like putting it lightly,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like when we're talking about sexism and racism and like just systemically not being viewed as a human being.
No, seriously.
Under the law.
No, 100%. And
not to mention there's no toilets.
No, seriously, I was like, we don't have basic electricity, indoor plumbing, you know, all those things.
I don't get the game, and I'm a Pride and Prejudice girly.
No, it's okay. Because, like, I also, my go-to answer used to be, like, the 1920s.
Yeah.
But it's more for, like, the fun stuff. But also, the 20s sucked as well.
Yeah.
Like, everything kind of sucks, no matter what period you put it in for various topological reasons, right?
Like, you know, in a modern sense, it's like, obviously certain things have gone just holistically better. And so it's this weird game to play.
Totally.
Like, why isn't the question, what era of fashion do you like? Or like something like that. Like, it's just such a, like, it's actually a racist question to begin with. And I think that's what Taylor's kind of underscoring, which is beautiful because, like, she's like, yeah, daydreaming, whatever, but like, not that game.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
No, so speaking on this, when the album came out, I was with like a group of people, and like some of them I really didn't, you know, obviously somebody's like, what do you think about the album? And most of the people there were dudes. Some of them were like fully like, yeah, I like the album, whatever, right? Obviously, love that. But then somebody else brought up this little tidbit in the song, and they misheard it, thinking she wanted to live there to be married off to the highest bidder. I was like, do you even fucking know Taylor Swift? Like, you dumbass. I was like, that's not the line. Like, that
it was a man that said that?
It was a man. Yeah. So I was like,
they're like, I hate Taylor Swift because this thing that I misheard.
Yeah.
It's really funny, actually.
I was like, okay, whatever. Thanks.
I mean, if we want to talk about like racism and Taylor Swift, the bigger problem is Maddie Healy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's not this lyric, it's Maddie Healy.
No, 100%. They obviously just did not know what they were talking
That's
about.
So
and so
funny.
It made me go, what the fuck are you on?
So funny. Thank you for joining us in this Taylor Swift TED Talk today. We had a great time. We love the whole thing. Like we said in part 1, we picked 4 songs because of time. Just because we knew we couldn't do them all. But yeah.
I love it. I love this album. It definitely has the potential to become my favorite one.
I don't even know if I have a favorite album.
You do tend to like kind of rotate.
I know. It's so obnoxious of me. A few months ago was Folklore. And I've never said that as my answer. But I went hard. For like a 6-month period. Yeah.
Well, like to like just kind of end on a lighter note, when I think of you, I tend to think of like Lover and Reputation.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they're easier to kind of dress for. Do you know what I mean? And so I like the two sides of the coin. So it's fun for me.
Oh, it's fun.
So it makes sense.
Totally.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you so much.
And Rachel, do you have any FanCorner announcements?
I freaking do, actually. My fairy tale now has its cover is complete. It's colored, all the things. So in June, I'll be launching like social pages for it. I'll post it to FanCorner too. And I'm really excited about it. Pre-orders go live in July.
Yay!
And then we're doing Exploding Horcruxes live on TikTok every Monday. If you'd like to join us, we'll try
Monday evenings.
Yes, Monday evening, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Jalera might not always be there, but she was this last time.
I was here.
We cuss, but I'll try not to do that. We scream. It's a good time.
It's a fun time.
And then this is actually top secret, but I'm just gonna tell the podcast listeners because they're like the super select few, you know, especially if they made it to the end. I'm coming up with a like top secret project for LeakyCon in 2 months, but then it'll go live online as well. But it's an advent calendar. And the front, like the advent calendar box is like set up to look like it's on a magical alley, but like FanCorner creations. And then in the little windows are like hints at what's gonna be in the boxes.
Cute.
Like little flying keys and like we have a little magical platypus shoving stuff in his little pouch and like just like cute shit. So
exciting.
Look forward to that. We'll see if I pull it off, but we're trying. And other than that, I think that's it. Other than that, have a very magical day.